This is the third lesson of Level 1 on Honeysuckle Rose and Scrapple from the Apple. In the previous lessons, I've been focusing on the harmony and also the scales that fit the sequence. I'm now going to talk about the middle eight of Scrapple from the Apple, which is slightly different to Honeysuckle Rose. I'm also going to talk about some ideas of arpeggios and chord tones. So in the previous lesson, I focused on the Scrapple changes, which was on F7 to B flat 7, G7 to C7. In Scrapple from the Apple, we have almost the same idea, but they're all a fifth apart from each other, and it starts on A7. I'm actually playing a 13th there, it sounds a bit more sophisticated, but essentially it's a dominant 7th. Then we go to D7, and then G7, and then C7. So again, all of these you can apply the Mixolydian scale. So that's a major scale, the flat 7. So I didn't really talk about it in detail or at all in the last lesson in Scrapple, but you can see it's just exactly the same process. And I also talked about pentatonic scales, which would work over that. The idea of chord tones is another way of looking at improvising. So if we take the chord tones of G minor, that would be G, B flat, D and F, and then the chord tones of C7, which would be C, E, G, B flat. Is it important to bring out the chord tones in your improvisation? I would say definitely yes, because if you're improvising in a key like F and thinking, oh, I'm an F, I'll play lots of things to do with F, you're not really thinking about the harmony of G minor. Now G minor is in F major, but the strong notes are G, B flat, D and F, whereas in F, the strong notes are F, A and C. So it is important to do that. You can just give yourself some exercises saying, I'm only going to improvise on chord tones for the A section, so I'll just demonstrate that. It won't sound like a really sophisticated solo, but it gives you the idea. Okay. That was the 1 bar per chord of Scrapple from the Apple changes. It might be a little bit tricky to do it with Honeysuckle Rose, but I'll give it a shot. I'll play a little bit slower, that might help. Always play things more slowly if you're struggling at the correct speed. And you can see that sounded pretty convincing, but obviously, you know, just playing the chord tones isn't the only way to improvise, but it does help. When we get to the end of the sequence, from bar 5, I mentioned perhaps going to a chord 6 and raising the third. So if you were outlining that, it would be... So it would sound like this if you did an improvisation. And again, it was quite a simple improvisation, but I was mostly focusing in on the chord tones. The middle section of both the tunes are dominant 7th. So again, you could focus on the important notes. So in Honeysuckle Rose, that's for F7, F, A, C, E flat, B flat, D, F, A flat for B flat 7, then G, B flat, D, F, and then C, E, G, B flat. And an improvisation on just chord tones could sound like this. Cheated there and put an extra note in. In Honeysuckle Rose, we've just got 2 chords and then we move down a minor third, but in Scrapple from the Apple they all move down in fifths. But again, you can do the same thing. So for A7, A, C sharp, E, G, D, F sharp, A, C, G, B, D, F, C, E, G, B flat. And again, they're on the PDF if I'm going too fast. You can just have a look and you can see the notes in C concert, or if you're in a different key, if you're a trumpeter or a saxophonist or something, you can see the key in the PDF for your specific instrument. I'll just improvise on those chords, just using chord tones. This is the Scrapple from the Apple, middle 8. You know, it works. It's a little bit, feels like an exercise. So it's a way to really learn the changes, but it's not the end result. It's just a process for practice. And that's the end of lesson 3, level 1 of Honeysuckle Rose and Scrapple from the Apple. Do join me for level 2.